Okay, now I'm recording. I am so sorry. 11:24. All right. Well, Masala, I'm going to get to you. I have to recap really quick because I want people to be able to see this. This is a really good discussion. So we're talking about what is more significant, the intended effect of the intended message of the author or what the audience perceives from it. What was discussed is what audience perceives may be more significant because that's what is going to happen with the message. What people do with the message and those interpretations as opposed to what was intended. But both are equally important because we also have to think about the idea of miscommunication. And Abby, I love that you mentioned that idea and use that term miscommunication, because that right there is the essence of miscommunication. Whether we're talking about you having a conversation with an adult or your friends, or even the intended message within a piece of writing, miscommunication happens where the author's meaning to say one thing, but here's what people got out of it. Okay, Masala, what were you thinking?
I was just going to comment on the miscommunication aspect of it, is that I'm reading Go Set a Watchman right now.
Oh, okay.
And that's, if you don't know, that's Harper Lee's first book that she just released now. And to me, it's coming off very actually racist and very like, you know, even the character who isn't supposed to be racist, right, is coming off as, well, we need to help the Negro themselves, and they're, you know, and that is racism, and it's just coming off as very racist. So I guess that could be considered a miscommunication as well, because I don't know if that's the intended attitude of Scout.
Well, one, I'm glad you're reading that book. Two, also want you to know you're not the only person who has picked up on that tone. That's actually been, I critique is the wrong word, but that's, you know, if you think about it, with the book that he's talking about, how many of you read To Kill a Mockingbird, or you've heard of it?
I did.
Yeah, I did. Awesome book. To Kill a Mockingbird is such a good book. Such a good book, right? So when they found out that Harper Lee had a prequel, I did. You're like, I'm assuming I have, but I don't remember it. That's tragic. But yeah, great book. Okay, good. Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. If you didn't, that's okay. That's okay. But it's a favorite of mine. So when this prequel came out, that rocked everybody's world because To Kill a Mockingbird had such a powerful social effect on that perspective. Because if you think about, we're going back to like American Lit now. That's not the course, but you know, whatevs. So if you think about, oh my gosh, I'm seeing his face, but I can't remember his name. The lawyer.
Atticus.
Thank you. Yeah. Atticus Finch. If you go back to Atticus Finch, there's this idea that he was revolutionary because he was not racist in a time when everybody was. But I think you can make the argument that it wasn't that he wasn't racist. He had a sense of right and wrong. He took his job very seriously about defending the truth and defending the honor of his client, whether or not he saw that person as equal or as a lesser human being was besides the point. But that's also revolutionary as well. And it opened up so many awesome discussions. So with a prequel coming out, that rocked everybody's world. But the interesting thing is that does actually tend to be the most common analysis, is that there's more racism and this underlying racist tone that just shocked the pants off of everybody. And what's interesting now that we have that, I'm curious what's going to happen to American Lit classes 15 years down the road when they analyze To Kill a Mockingbird. Because now that we see what the prequel is saying, I think that actually changes our interpretation of To Kill a Mockingbird. Talk about paradigms blowing up. I mean, English teachers and that's just rocking our world like all over the place. So it's really cool, really interesting. But Masala, you bring up a good point. We don't have anything from the author to say, here's what I was trying to say. So everything is based on inference. And that's where I go back to, in my opinion, I think what the audience does with something is so much more powerful than the intended message. Because what we do with it is going to determine social change. It's going to determine what's taught in classes. It's going to determine conversations at dinner tables. It's going to inspire revolutions. Books have inspired revolutions. Big time. We're talking straight up social revolutions where people protest, people march, people stand up for themselves. We saw a lot of that with the civil rights movement, all the way back to Frederick Douglass, was a freed slave. And it's what the people did with it. Words are the most powerful weapons. Big time, Sabi. Thank you, because that's what's going to take us back to diction. That's why we're doing diction analysis. And I loved the debate. It wasn't necessarily even meant to be a debate. Okay, that's not true. It was kind of meant to be a little bit of a debate. But the debate that happened for My Papa's Waltz, what I loved was that people shared their interpretations and provided quotes, but nobody, I shouldn't say nobody, very few people took it to the next level to explain how the words supported their interpretation. And so then I think miscommunication is definitely a threat when it comes to that poem. So I'm going to share the screen again. As we look at the words in My Papa's Waltz, okay, I want you to think about what words pop out at you as powerful or even interesting, where it's like, why would the author use that word in that stanza or in that line? And then I want you to think about what we associate with that word, what images come to mind, what ideas come to mind, and then the emotions that come from it, okay? Let me pull up that poem really quick. Oh, I can't minimize when I'm recording. Okay, so what that means, I'm gonna stop recording and then I'll start because I want you to see that poem.